This shaitan we have been asked to ask protection from him. And not only have we been asked to protection of him, but especially when we recite the Quran. And this hukm and this order is in the Quran itself, where Allah Ta'ala says, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنِ, and when you are about to recite the Quran, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. Allah Ta'ala from shaitan. But we even do it before we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Which outwardly seems to be, why would that be? We should say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the name of Allah. And then after that, we should ask Allah Ta'ala for protection from shaitan. The reason being is because when we are reciting the Quran, this is the most dangerous time in regards to a connection with shaitan. It should never be that this person who's reciting the Quran, who's saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and he is reciting the most pure thing that was brought by Allah Ta'ala, and he's also reciting something which has a lot of injunctions and a lot of orders in it. It shouldn't be such that the person reciting it, he himself is doubting it. And the shaitan is whispering to him while he is reciting it. That's why the importance is there so much for us to say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem when we recite the Quran. Even so much that if you're reciting in the beginning, in the middle of a surah, you don't have to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim has been sent down as a separation between surahs. But still you should say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir. And even to such an extent that if you stop your recitation and let's say you take a sip of coffee, or you stop your recitation and someone comes to you on the side, and it happens all the time, may Allah forgive us, and he knocks you on the back and says, listen, did you see that Nick game last night? Or he says that, listen, did you watch the Kavanaugh, decision last night in the Senate? And people, they talk to us, and sometimes we akhlaq, you cannot tell everybody I'm reading Quran. Of course, your son, you can tell that too, and your wife, you can tell that too. But sometimes the person is a regular person. You tell them that, well, you're reading Quran, then they say you have no akhlaq. What kind of person are you? The Quran says, have akhlaq. So we stop our recitation and we look at them and we involve ourselves in another conversation. When we come back to the Quran, we are supposed to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Doesn't mean that guy's a shaitan, okay? Doesn't mean that. But it means that we have now gone away from the recitation, have put our mind somewhere else. Let's not put our mind back in there and bring these things. Let's get back to concentrating on the Quran, but ask Allah Ta'ala for protection from the shaitan. So this is the great importance that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala Himself has laid down, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has laid down as well in the ahadith, that we're supposed to say this A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. And the element of shaitan is such also, that if he whispers to us about some doubts in the Quran, many of us will be victim and fall victim to what shaitan does. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said, "Ash-shaytan yajri min al-insan." Shaitan, he flows in us, majr al-dam, like the flowing of blood. Now the ulama have said that this is a comparison. It may not even be haqiqah. It might not even be the reality that shaitan is in our blood. So this is a comparison. This is a simile. Now what is the simile about? We all have blood in our body. And the blood in our body is not such that if we move this way, blub, 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 and the blood's going to move this way. And if we move this way, blub, blub, we can feel the blood in us. We cannot feel the blood unless someone has very high blood pressure. Other than that, you cannot feel the blood flowing in your body. You don't even feel it's happening. The shaitan, when he tricks a person and tries to get people to have shukuk and doubts about things in the Quran, about anything in life, or he causes us to worry, na'udhu billah. And with all of this depression that we have all over the world, and with people, literally going crazy, you have good people who are pious people, nice people, and then they flip. Many a time it's because of shaitan. Shaitan is whispering to them, and they are not seeking protection, and they are thinking it is done. The same way that the blood flows, you can't detect it. The same way the shaitan, he causes stuff in our heart, and we can't detect it. And we think it's us. And we will read the Quran, and we'll get those doubts, and we won't say, A'udhu billah, shaitan is putting this in my head. We will say, this is me and this is what I think and what I know. And this actually is the meaning of this ayat of Quran, which is a wrong meaning. So that's why it's of utmost importance that before we recite Quran, we should make sure that we say A'udhu billah minash shaitanir rajeem. And out of Quran also, when we are sitting and they say in the English language that, the idle heart is the workshop of the devil. Sometimes we sit and we are not doing anything. We're driving a car, we're not making dhikr of Allah Ta'ala, we're not listening to anything beneficial, or maybe we're listening to something that's really not going to make us concentrate on what's important. And the shaitan has now a workshop open. He sees the heart is idle. It's not doing the dhikr of Allah Ta'ala. And he goes in there and starts bringing thoughts, maybe about our families. Maybe it's about our mother-in-law and father-in-law. Maybe it's about the boss at the job. Maybe we're worried about not being able to make the rent. All of these different worries he starts bringing. And these worries are substantial. They are very, very effective. For people, like I said just now, they get depressed and they get anxiety and they get problems. In these cases also, we have to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. A person may say that it has no benefit. I say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, who cares? And sometimes there is cases in that way. Why? The steps that we take are wrong sometimes also. For example, if a person unfortunately went to some dance club and he's dancing his way in the club and the music is playing and finally he says, this is wrong. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. It's not enough at that time. You can't say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem and stay in the club. That's not going to work. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. He has to get away from the shaitanic environment also, that demonic environment, and then A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, it will work. Sometimes, practically, we have to do it as well. It's not only with the mouth, but practically we have to make sure that we do this also. They say one joke, I don't know if it's appropriate to say in the masjid, but they say it was in a country, Islamic or Muslim country, and one of the students had a wrongful magazine behind his school book. So the teacher was walking around, but the student did not realize that the teacher was walking around. So the teacher then looked and said, "Oh my God, what is this?" And he picked up the book and saw that he was looking at this filthy book on top of his book and was not concentrating on the science or whatever it was. When the teacher picked it up, he said, "What is this? First page is so disgusting. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, astaghfirullah." Then you turn the page. And here also, so bad, astaghfirullah, a'udhu billah. You turn the page also again. And he finished the whole book with astaghfirullah and a'udhu billah, but also the shaitan has deluded him also. So sometimes we have to practically do something in order for us to get out of the shaitanic environment. As Yusuf alayhi salam, we know the story that when the wife of the Aziz in Misr came to him and was trying to tell him to do something with me, it wasn't just A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. And he said, Inna Rabbi ahsana mathwaya. Allah Ta'ala has given me a good place. My Lord has been good to me. Some even say he meant that your husband has been good to me. How can I do anything? After that, he did not just sit there and stay in that situation. He ran towards the door, even though it was double locked. And Allah Ta'ala, out of a miracle, made it open also. So this is sometimes the case, but there are cases sometimes where we feel that when we say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, it's not really doing nothing. Mullah Ali Qari, who was a great scholar of the past, he has written the Shara of Mishkat al-Masabih, which is called Al-Mirqat. And he was from also Herat, from the Afghanistan area. And then he moved to Makkah Mukarramah. He was a great scholar.